Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. Here is your daily forecast for the day of Tuesday, May 29th, 2018, for the full moon in Sagittarius happening today. Now before I get started, I did just have one announcement. I did do my June 2018 webinar last night. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who came out to my webinar and who purchased it. I will have the recorded version available soon to send out to all of you who were there, as well as for purchase for those of you who did not make the webinar but perhaps are still interested in seeing what will happen this month. Okay, so I just wanted to let you all know about that. Now, what we've got going on today, sorry, I'm having some slight technical difficulties with my iPads today. It's like for some reason when one's working, the other one's not. It's just very strange, but I'm back. What we've got today is the moon here in Sagittarius this morning, bringing our attention to, whenever the moon is in Sagittarius, doing something new. Exploring, adventuring, trying to do something that excites us more in our life as well. Sometimes studying something, learning something you don't already know. And did I say traveling? That comes in. Sorry, I've still got this like technical difficulty on the brain. But that's what comes in with the moon here in Sagittarius. Now, at the end of yesterday, this moon in Sagittarius wasn't a trine to Chiron. So it could have brought up some perhaps uncomfortable feelings yesterday around dinner time, perhaps. We're trying to get more excited about our life, about our future, about what the future holds. But maybe it was hard to do that, to do the things that we wanted in a way that excites us. Maybe just needing to be a little bit more patient here with the trine to Chiron, and to take care perhaps of some other more practical matters in the meantime. Okay, even if some uncomfortable things did come up, perhaps around dinner time last night, I do like to think that by the time bedtime rolled around, that they did start to get a little bit better. That's because at midnight, so yesterday night into this morning, this moon in Sagittarius comes off this kind of uncomfortable trine to Chiron and starts to make a very pretty sextile over to Mars in Aquarius. And so what that could bring at midnight is a chance for you, hopefully, to start to bring the passion back to your life if you feel like it was a little bit of a rough start getting that yesterday, and to envision a future that excites you, that you think is better for you, to get more excited about what the future holds for you. I think there's a lot of that's going on at midnight into today, to see new possibilities for your future in a more positive way, and to adjust your belief systems as well. I think that starts to come in to help you see where your life is going, to understand it, and to move forward in a better direction, perhaps being more optimistic, since Sagittarius is a very optimistic sign. So I think that's what comes in at midnight. Then we move further through today, and at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, this moon in Sagittarius makes a trine to the North Node, which is also another very pretty aspect. And this trine to the North Node can bring at 7 a.m. Again, more positive feelings. Not only allowing you to think about your future, where your future is going, to get excited about the future, but maybe also for you to start to feel happy about where you are right now in life, in the present with Leo. For you to start to understand what you need to be happy, and how you can move towards the future, towards a new life, or some new dream, goal, or ambition of yours in a way, hopefully, that resonates more with your heart, that I think starts to come in at 7 a.m. All right, so I do like that, even if the nighttime perhaps was a little bit uncomfortable. I need to make sure I plan my webinars better. I was like, I did not check what was going to go on. I should do it in advance. I didn't check what was going to happen. But I think I gave my webinar in the time of this like moon Chiron trine. I was like, I need to watch that and give them on better times when the astrology is doing better things. But I really do like what's going on for the most of this morning here with the moon in very positive spots, helping you to get more excited about your life, where it's going, where you are right now, and perhaps a way that wasn't possible last night, or maybe wasn't possible in some of the days leading up to this. All right, then at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, the moon moves further through Sagittarius and makes an opposition to the sun. Okay, and that is a full moon. In astrology, that's what makes a full moon, when the moon opposes the sun in one of these charts. And that brings some kind of big ending or some kind of big completion into the things that Sagittarius rules, which is travel, study, exploration. some kind of belief system, stepping into some belief system you've been cultivating, stepping into some new thing that you've been doing, some journey, or ending an old journey, ending an old adventure so that you can do something else, some new adventure that really resonates with you. Okay, that is coming in. And with this being in Sagittarius, this, of course, thing that we're ending or completing has a lot to do with Saturn. Excuse me, especially because Saturn was in Sagittarius for the past 2.5 years, since what? December of 2014, I believe. Right? Was it then? December of 2014? If I'm getting my years right. So anyways, Saturn has been in Sagittarius for a while. It's no longer there. It left in December of last year to move into Capricorn. But of course, the moon here in Sagittarius is bringing things back to us from this time of Saturn, when Saturn was there. And I think this new moon, this full moon, is really bringing the end of Saturn in Sagittarius, of whatever it is that we were experiencing the past 2.5 years, to kind of bring that to a closure in some way. And I think to heal it, really, with this full moon making a lot of really good aspects over to Mars and to the North Node. I know I mentioned when Mars left Sagittarius earlier this year that that was the end of Saturn in Sagittarius. You know, because once Saturn leaves a sign, you have to track all the movements that happen through that sign very closely, because once Saturn leaves a sign, the next time planets enter that sign, they're going to drag up old issues that occurred when Saturn was there and bring some of those issues to the forefront. So that's why I mention it. Kind of talking in circles a little bit, but that's why I mention it. And when Mars left a few months ago, it kind of was the end of dragging us through some of these issues time and time again that we've been facing for the past 2.5 years. But after Mars left a few months ago, even though the book, the Saturn and Sagittarius book, was done, maybe there was still 1 or 2 more pages that we had left to turn. Maybe the Saturn and Sagittarius book was still laying open on the shelf. And I think this full moon is saying, okay, if there were any questions that you had, anything that you were wanting to do from the past 2.5 years while Saturn is in Sagittarius, this is literally like closing the book, closing the page, where there should be, hopefully, after this full moon, no more questions about what was this past about. Did I do everything that I wanted to do while Saturn was in Sagittarius? Is it done? Is it not done? And I think this full moon is saying, okay, it's over. It really is over. And things are going to start to get better from here on out. And I think this full moon is like a really beautiful completion of that time period that some of us, especially my mutable signs, my Geminis, Virgos, Sagittariuses, and Pisces, may have struggled through. This full moon is bringing that time to a close, and I really like it. Not only do I like the aspects that this full moon is making, but I also like the fact that the next planet that will be in Sagittarius will be Jupiter, which loves Sagittarius, and it will be in November. Okay, so it's coming very soon after. Again, more healing in regards to our Saturn and Sagittarius journey that we were on the past 2.5 years. All right. So I think we're ending this chapter, maybe a lot of things that hurt from the past few years that were hard for us. We're putting a close to it. I think it's a beautiful close, especially this week. I think this week is one of the more favorable weeks than we've had lately and may have in the near future. I think we're bringing that chapter to a close. We're starting to realize, okay, maybe things are changing. As things are moving forward, we may have to be patient for a little bit until we start to realize how much things have changed and how much better things are going to get, especially for those of us who have had really hard times while Saturn was in Sagittarius. But I think this is helping us to do it, okay? Because Jupiter doesn't always follow so closely to Saturn. Okay, sometimes Jupiter is a few signs behind Saturn. Sometimes Jupiter maybe is a few signs ahead of Saturn. And for Jupiter to come into the sign that Saturn just left months ago, even though it's not happening now, it'll happen in November, to me is a really beautiful sign that anything you've been struggling with while Saturn was causing havoc the past few years will be healed, will be made better. It just may take a few months between this full moon and between Jupiter entering its home sign for us to realize just how much has changed, and for us to realize that things are going to be coming together in a more positive way, okay? And then after Jupiter enters Sagittarius in November, we're of course going to have the Sun, Mercury, and Venus there in December when they normally come through that sign around that time, hopefully helping us to heal more of the things from the past few years. And then we're going to have Mercury go retrograde around December in Sagittarius as well, again helping you to make sense of everything that's occurred and to see it from a new and different perspective to move forward. So I know that's like a lot of information on Saturn and Sagittarius, but I think we're closing the chapter to the book officially. Things are going to start to improve from here on out for those of us who have struggled with Saturn and Sagittarius, although we may not see it start to improve by leaps and bounds in the way that it is that we want until November when Jupiter enters, but that we're slowly starting to get there and see our life in different ways. And I think that's what this full moon is saying. Time for you to complete anything you've been working on for 2.5 years, for you to step into some new thing that you've been doing, to start to, with the new moon going to be in Gemini, integrate it more into your life, make it more familiar, and to communicate more about all the things that you've been doing, learning, studying, traveling about the past few years, okay? So that's what's happening there, and that's going to stay with us for most of the day. The next aspect that the moon makes will not be until about 11 o'clock at night, Mountain Time, tonight and into tomorrow, and that then is going to be the moon as it moves further through Sagittarius, making a square to Neptune. And you know what I always say about squares to Neptune at 11 p.m. Mountain Time could bring up some confusion that's going on inside, okay? I think when this case, it's because we are trying to make sense of what's been going on the past few years of our life, because we're trying to finally embark on some new journey, close one chapter, start another. And maybe that's hard because, again, with Neptune, there are some things inside us. Maybe we feel like we're being taken out of our comfort zone one last time to make sure everything's been completed, to make sure we're doing the things that we want and need. So maybe that can make it a little bit hard for us to get in touch with ourselves at the nighttime, because there's so much that's coming up on our mind about these past few years, what they meant, where they're going, what happens from here, how do I feel inside about it, what about the past? With Neptune here, bringing up maybe lots of things from the past. Okay, we realize this big chapter is closing, but maybe there are still longings for the past. Maybe there are still things we feel like we left in the past that we're really trying to cut the ties with so that we can move forward. Okay, and I think that's what's kind of going on, is we're being taken out of our comfort zone here in Sagittarius, and really needing to allow yourself to come out of your comfort zone, to tie up the loose ends, to let go of the old 2.5 year Saturn and Sagittarius period, so that we can finally start to hopefully begin to ground ourselves more and feel more comfortable with everything that we have accomplished as more of these planets begin to move through the bottom of the chart and less through the top of the chart. Okay. So that's what's there, and I really do think that this full moon is a time to integrate all the lessons of the past 2.5 years, to understand them, what they were all about, what they meant to you, where you go next from here, how you can do what's next better, being a big thing today. Now, other stuff going on in the background, what we do have, Mercury enters Gemini today. Here's Mercury, the last degree of Taurus in this chart. So with Mercury at 29 degrees today, Taurus, before it moves into Gemini, there could be lots of conversations about our money, about our own value, our own worth, how much worth we have as individuals. Especially as we start to embark on some new journey that we've been working on. Are we ready for it? Are we not? Do we have the resources to do this thing we've been trying to do, we've been trying to work out while Saturn was in Sagittarius? Okay, maybe trying to make sure your finances are in order to do what you want and need, to get your confidence up, to move forward, okay, and to make sure you have everything at your disposal to put your life in the right direction. So maybe a lot of thinking about that. And once Mercury shifts over into Gemini, again, it's going to be more communicating about your talents, about your money, about your about the things, your confidence, okay, and maybe letting more people in on some of the things that you're thinking about could come in when Mercury moves into Gemini. Okay, right as Mercury moves into Gemini today, it's also going to sextile Chiron. So you thinking about your talents, organizing your finances, getting more confident about what's going on, maybe getting feedback from other people or expressing yourself, I think really is going to help you here with Chiron to overcome any old wounds that it is that you may have. even if you're still thinking about the past with this square to Neptune that the moon will make today. But I think any communication you can do about your talents, about your money, to put them more in order, to increase your self-worth, is going to help you overcome any old wounds, heal from some old things, figure out who you are better, get a better understanding of your new identity, and to hopefully help you move forward in a better way, to do some of the things you want, if not now, then eventually. All right, we still have Mars here in a square with Uranus, so there could be some unexpected things that do come up, perhaps some unexpected frustrations. Sorry, I forgot to turn my air conditioning off. I hope you all can still hear me. I know sometimes you can hear that on the video. Just thought I'd let you know, but I'm almost finished, so I don't want to have to refilm. But Mars in a square with Uranus can bring up some frustrations as well, being anxious, nervous about life, especially as we're completing one major chapter of life to go into another one, and really needing, especially with Mars on the South Node, to be patient, to let everything come to you, to receive what is coming to you from these past 2.5 years, and to let all the chips fall where they may, okay, even if you're feeling anxious. So we've got that happening there. And then the last thing that I'll mention too is Venus coming into, by the end of this week, a trine with Jupiter and a trine with Neptune, which are in a trine with each other, really helping you, I think, by the end of this week, to hopefully get in touch with your emotions, to hopefully feel more grounded and more stable, hopefully like you've graduated a little bit now that some big things are changing, so that you can start to move forward in a little bit of a different way. All right, so that's what I see going on there. I do see this week as being a good week to get in touch with what you're feeling emotionally, and to just figure all of that out so that you can kind of get more insights on how it is that we need to move forward. All right, yeah, so I think that's what's going on. I don't think, especially with Mars in the South Node, that it's going to be like a great time this month to move forward leaps and bounds by any means, but I think slowly this whole month we're gonna get an unfolding, like a slow unfolding of like what needs to happen and what doesn't need to happen, and what's meant for our lives and what's not meant for our lives, and how we can integrate that more into our lives, and what needs to change. And I think we're slowly gonna start to get more information this month, may come in waves, bit by bit, piecemeal, about some of our resources, our money, our relationships, what's happening, and what we can do with all of that to work better for us once we get some of the answers. All right, so that's what I've got there. Your card for the day, ooh, I love it. What a great card for the full moon in Sagittarius, the World upright. This is, of course, a card of completions. This is like you got the world in your palm, and I think this card is saying finish the drill. If there's anything from this Saturn and Sagittarius thing that you've been working on that you need answers about, even though the answers are going to come slowly this month, I think it really is the time here to bring to completion and to any projects that you've had, to see them to the very end, so that you can get a better understanding of where it is that you currently are, and to find more of that peace that comes. Yeah, I really do. Just a good time to get closure, perhaps, that it is that you need from the past 2.5 years. And to reflect on all that it is that you've accomplished, and to realize how far you've come. I think this is a good card for that, to just stop and take a moment, reflect on everything that you've accomplished. And I like to think to realize that you've come out of it, that the worst, especially for my mutable signs, is over, though maybe my cardinal signs now are going to have some big choices, decisions, and things going on. But to realize that maybe one thing, at least one part of your life that you've been struggling with, wherever Saturn is now coming to a close, that you have beat it, that you have done it. Time to give yourself a pat on the back a little bit here, and to maybe celebrate a tiny bit, to see just how far you've come, and to maybe show yourself some love that you made it. All right, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching my horoscope. If you like it, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you later.